Hey everybody. So we are on day 19. We are coming down to the last, week and a half, 10 days or so of NaNoWriMo. I am close to 25,000 words. So I am just now about hitting halfway, 5 days late. So we've got some catching up to do. Let's do this. I am getting prepped for a hotel night. So some of you have asked about this, like, what do you do to prep for a hotel night? What do you take with you? So I'm going to be sharing the full experience. I'm going to have 2 nights at a hotel, but when you have 2 nights, you do have to think about the final night driving home if you've gone off to a retreat. So when we lived on the coast, on the East Coast, I used to. That sounds so weird because I've lived like near the East Coast my whole life. So it's strange to not be there anymore. But we are coming up on actually a year in Texas starting in just a few days. We will have been actually, maybe today was the day we came to Texas last year. So we have been in Texas for a year. We started out in Houston, then we went to Grapevine, then we went to Richardson, and now we're in South Dallas. So interesting. This is my Texas anniversary, and it feels good. Like, we love being here. We love this house, so we have found our place. But anyway, when I lived on the East Coast, I used to go to like Myrtle Beach or Hilton Head, places like that, and I would get Airbnbs, which sometimes are cheaper than hotels. And then sometimes if I just needed a single night away, what I would do is go to Priceline Express Deals. This is a hack that I used in the very beginning when my son was little and I couldn't get away for like multiple nights at a time. I could really only have one night away. I would look for a Priceline Express deal in Raleigh area, which is where we lived at the time, near the airport, because airport hotels tend to be big. They tend to have lower prices sometimes during the weeknights or even the weekends sometimes. Like, what I would find is often on Sunday nights, the Marriott near the airport would do a Priceline Express deal. Now, when you do express deals, you don't know exactly what the hotel is. You're just guessing, but they'll give you like a star rating. They'll give you a review. They'll tell you what amenities the hotel has. And sometimes if you look in the area where the hotel is, you can kind of tell or guess which one or two it is to see if you want to book that deal. And so I would do that, and I would always get that Marriott, and I loved it because I could get a balcony. I could show up early. They had a restaurant, and it was great. And sometimes I would get it for like $65 a night. So definitely check out your local hotels and see if you can find a decent hotel for, 60, 70 bucks a night and see how that works. Now, of course, that was 10 years ago. So these days it's more like 75 to 100, or like downtown Dallas, I was able to get, I think it was a Hilton. Now I can't remember which one I stayed at, but that was like $100 for the night. So half the price of what their normal like rack rate is. I'm going to be staying at a really cute hotel in Austin. I will leave tomorrow after Indie Writer Fest is over and I get this vlog up. So if you're watching this, I'm probably already on the road to Austin. And what I usually tend to do is I want to pack up clothes that are comfortable to write in, stuff that's going to be warm, or stuff that like layers, so that if it ends up being hot and I don't want to turn on the air conditioning, or if I end up getting really cold in the room, I can throw on some socks or whatever else. But the main prep that I do is, besides making sure that I have whatever computer I most want to write on, is making sure that I have note cards or scene cards for what I'm planning to write when I'm there. In my experience, if I show up to a hotel night, like, I am not a pantser, but if you are, just show up and pants the crap out of it. But I am not typically a pantser. So what I like to do is I like to think about how much time do I have? How many writing sprints do I think I'm going to get in? And then how many scenes do I think I'll be able to write in that amount of time? So then I prep by planning what scenes I'm going to write. So I'm going to take you guys through that process today. We're going to get some writing done. I'm going to set the family up because somehow it seems like the family has a hard time surviving without mama. And so I will make sure to get them groceries and everything else. We also share a car, so George won't be able to take the kids out to get groceries and stuff like that. So I will need to make sure they are settled and good to go for the next few days. Luckily, Andrew's out of school, so they'll just be hanging out at home until I get home. So I'm going to take you through the process of figuring out how much I'm hoping to write, setting my goals for the weekend, and packing up my clothes. So I already have some stuff here. Now this trip is going to be a little bit different than normal because I'm hoping to go to the Erin Condren store and I want to take pictures and film it and I want to look cute. But normally I wouldn't worry about looking cute. I would just worry about looking comfortable or being comfortable. But I also am going to be editing vlogs while I'm there so I can get the vlogs up to you guys. So I need to think about what computer equipment, what camera, what SD card. And so there's a little bit extra than what would go into like a normal hotel night, but I'm excited to bring you along and we'll prep together today and then go write tomorrow. Okay, guys, so this is how I create a plan for a writing retreat or when I know I'm going to be like trying to binge write for a little while. Now, I just sat down and recorded this whole process, so this is why this is already done, but it was a 20-minute video and I was like, okay, let's not have a 35-minute vlog today. So I'm going to just tell you what I did. When I know I'm going away either for a night or longer, there's really two ways that you can create your schedule, but I highly recommend that you go in with a plan beyond just, I'm going to write as much as I feel like, unless that's okay. Like if you just want to write as much as you feel like writing and you just want to have a chill time, great. I'm a planner. So if you're like me and this resonates with you, here's just what I tend to do. So one way is to set a goal for yourself. So what you could do, just not looking at this, is you could say, okay, my goal for the next 2 days is I want to try to write 11,000 words. Then you say divided by, you can either do it by hour or you can do it by writing sprint. I tend to go by writing sprints, which for me tend to be 20 or 25 minutes with a 5 or 10 minute break. So I do it in 30-minute chunks, just like I do everything in my life, 30-minute task blocks. So for me, in a 30-minute writing session that includes a break, I can typically write an average of 650 words per session, per sprint. So I would take the 11,000 words divided by 650 on average, and that's going to give me a total of how many sprints I need in order to hit that word count for the weekend. And of course, I might come under or might go over, but this gives me at least a target point. So for me, if my goal was 11,000, I would need to look at my schedule and find time for 17 writing sprints. So that's one way you can do it. I like to do it the opposite of that because if I start with a goal, I might be setting an unrealistic goal. So instead, I like to start with a schedule. So I have taken Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, which is my retreat session, and I have created a schedule for myself. And then I've figured out from that schedule how many writing sprints I think I'm going to do per day. So I'm going to check into the hotel, give myself time to chill out, and then I'm going to start writing around 5 p.m. And I'm going to write for 2 hours, which is 4 30-minute sessions. Then I'm going to give myself an hour for dinner, and then I'm going to sit down and write another 5 sprints. And that is going to be over the course of 3 hours, which technically I could fit 6 sprints into those 3 hours, but 3 hours is a long time to sit without a break. So I'll probably take a break and get some coffee or something in between. So 5 sprints there. Then at 11 p.m., because I will have been sitting for so long, I'm going to take a longer break and do like my tarot cards or watch a video, get up and stretch a little bit. And then I'm going to write a couple more sprints before I wind down for the night. So then I look at ththose writing times and I say, okay, I have 4 plus 5 plus 2 is 11 sprints. So my goal is to write 11 sprints on Sunday. Then I know that I need at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep. So I'm going to let myself sleep until 8. And then I'm going to write at 9:30. So that gives me time for breakfast, shower, getting ready for the day. I'm going to write for 4 sprints, and then I'm going to potentially go to the Erin Condren store, have lunch maybe with some Hearties. I had some people reach out and say, I'm from Austin. So if we get a chance, we'll meet up. If you are from Austin and you want to meet up and you want to be part of it, if we decide to get coffee or lunch, we'll probably be going to the Domain area. So if that is you, send me an email at sarah@heartbreathings.com so that I can send you the meetup information if we decide to do it. So that may be Monday, but right now I don't know that schedule. So I just created a large swath of time for it. And then if it moves to Tuesday or if it becomes dinner instead, that's fine. And I'll just move my schedule around. So this isn't perfect. It's just doing the best you can. So I've given myself like 5 hours or so to 4.5 hours to do lunch and shopping. But my goal would be to restart my writing around 4 p.m. And then I'm going to write for 5 sprints, take a dinner break, restart and write for 5 more sprints. And I wrote a little note to take warm clothes because I saw that this hotel has like a pool area with fire pits and stuff like that. So if it's not 30 degrees, maybe I'll go outside and write a little bit with my gloves and stuff, but it might also be too cold. So we'll see. But another break at 11 p.m., restart at midnight, but this time go instead of till 1 a.m., let's try to go till 2 a.m. Again, that might shift. But then I've written out how many writing sprints I think that'll be for each session, and it comes to a total of 18 sprints. Now, first, I just want to say, don't compare yourself to me because you may not be able to write 9 full hours in a day. Not everybody can. We're not all built the same way. It doesn't make me better than you. It doesn't make me worse than you. It doesn't make my words crappy. And it doesn't mean that I'm a better, faster writer. You guys know how slow I tend to write overall. It just means this is my number. And if your number is you can do a max of 2 hours of writing and then you want to chill and enjoy and fill your well the rest of the time and read books, then that is a perfect writing retreat for you. So don't judge it. It's just for me, I'm trying to write as much as possible. So I'm giving myself breaks, but I'm also trying to write. So when I add those 2 days together, I get 29 writing sprints. So then what I do is I say, okay, if I hit my goal of 29 and I write 650 words on average a sprint, that gives me a max of 18,850. So this gives me an idea of what my max goal to shoot for is. So I don't want to go into the weekend thinking, oh, I'm going to write 25,000 words, because really the max I can hope for is around 18,800. And if I get 18,800, I will be shocked because that is a huge word count. And I don't know that I can do that right now. I don't know that I have the stamina for that. So I'm going to actually back it down. You guys know I always love to build in buffer. And I'm going to say my goal for the retreat is 16 or 15,000 words. That's what I'm aiming for. And having a goal for me is super important, not so I can beat myself up if I don't hit it. If I only get to 9,000, I'll still be hugely excited because that's a huge word count compared to how much I've been writing all year. I'll be super happy with that. But I like setting a goal so that I can have something to aim for. It gives me motivation and excitement and clarity, and I like it. So I'm shooting for 15K, kind of best case scenario would be 18K. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to get up and head home. Maybe I'll write a little bit when I get home. But I know for me, if I'm going to write 29 sprints in 2 days, Tuesday might be a 0 day for me. It might just not be a writing day at all. And that's okay too. So then what I like to do is, probably won't do it in this notebook, I'll do it in my plotting notebook, is I like to number out those 29 sprints. And then I'm going to keep track of how I do as I go. This also is a motivation tool for me that I can say, okay, yes, I got 850. And then I can count the sprints so that I've got a clear view of how many more I need. And as this begins to fill up, I start to get really excited. Okay, oh, I made it to number 12. We did it. We're doing it. There's 11,000 words on the table. It's like, it starts to really motivate me to see this start to fill up. And what I do is I write my total word count here. So if I wrote 850 the first sprint, then the second one, my total word count is 1250. Then I subtract to get my word count per sprint. So this is the total words in my retreat. And this is the total words so far in that one individual sprint, if that makes sense. So That way, then I'll also have a total for the manuscript over here. So it might be like 26,000 words over here, extra 0. And then, so I'll count these 3 things. Sometimes I take a flip chart sheet that you can stick on the wall, like what teachers use or people use at meetings, so that I can actually keep track of these sprints on the wall where I can see. You guys know I love my wall, my Kanban board, all that stuff. I love to do it and make it visual. So if I can find one in the mess of my house right now, I will take one of those with me along with some like Sharpie flip chart markers, and I will keep track of my word count, and I will share that process with you guys. But the next thing that I do once I have my plan for how many writing sprints I'm going to do, I'm aiming for 29, and I'm aiming for about 15 to 18,000 words. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my plotting room. I'm going to take out some index cards, and I'm going to look at where am I in the plot right now. I'm in Act 2, Part 1. And where will I be if I write another 18 to 20,000 words? So by then I'm going to be into Act 2, Part 2. So what needs to happen in this in-between part for me to have enough scenes planned out that I can write 18,000 words? Because I don't want to show up at this retreat hoping for 29 sprints and only have enough idea of what happens in the story to write 5 or 6 sprints. I want to have a clear idea. And if I want to use these sprints for actual writing and not brainstorming, then I need to brainstorm before I go. And it's totally okay, like I said, to like plan to do your brainstorming or just thinking through story at a writing retreat. It's not about cramming as many words as you can into a weekend, but it's just about planning for what your goals are and what you want to do. I want to write as much as I can during this particular writing retreat. So I am going to plan out as many scenes as possible. And if you want to see what I put on my note cards when I'm planning my scenes in detail, I have an entire series about how to write your book by scenes and how to plan scenes. So I will link my video down below where I talk about what I put on my index cards for planning out scenes. And that's exactly what I'm about to do right now. And I'm going to try to plan for about 18,000 words. Now, I don't have an average words per scene or words per chapter, but just for planning purposes, I am going to say that I'm going to write somewhere around 1,800 words per scene. So I need about 10 scene cards plotted out in order to hope to have any chance of hitting these 15 to 20,000 words. And that is how I plan my retreat. This is the writing portion of it, the schedule part of it, but there's also, making sure you have the clothes that feel comfortable, making sure you have snacks or water if you need it. Water is hugely important because not all hotels have like free water bottles in the room. So make sure that you bring some water with you, or you have some way to go downstairs at the hotel and buy water or whatever it is. Bring a glass so you can fill it up from the tap. And then making sure I've planned out what I'm going to eat and how I'm going to do that, so I'm not making all those decisions when I get there. And that's how I plan. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go and start planning out these scenes. So let's do it. Hey guys, so it is about 8:30. It has been a busy day for a Saturday. I really am just reminding myself that I've got to start working in more breaks into my week, but it's just, this is the busiest time of year, and it always is the busiest time of year for me. So I'm just rolling with it. I will take a break in December and it will be lovely, but I just have to keep moving forward and make sure that I'm taking some time out of every day for myself. So I meant to pick up the camera a little bit more this afternoon and then just didn't do it. So I ended up resting for a little bit, having a long cup of tea outside with my husband, which was really nice. We went for a walk with the kids. We went out to get groceries. I worked on my presentation and I did not have any time to work on my note cards. So it's 8:30 and I've just gotten Evie down. but I haven't gotten any note cards done for this trip. And honestly, the entire trip success depends on these note cards. So I'm sitting here like, okay, I have 1,000 to-do list items running through my head, but the main thing right now is to try to just laser focus in on getting 10 scenes down on this piece of paper. And if I can do that, then I know that I can be successful tomorrow. And the next day, all I have to do is just work through those scenes and do the best I can and give myself permission for it not to be perfect writing, but just to have an idea of what I'm working on. So that's the key right now. Whether or not I'm going to get any actual words today is left to be determined, because I do also kind of want to sit down and watch an episode or two of something with my husband tonight, since I won't see him for the next couple of days. And then we're back at it tomorrow. So I feel like when you're in a super busy time of your life, at least for me, it's like I like being busy and I thrive on having a lot to do and following my passion and being, go during certain times of my life. But in order for me to have the stamina to keep it up, I also have to be taking that time to like read a book, sit around with the kids, go for a walk, do those kind of things. So it's not just like busy all day long and being frantic. It's just be intentional with your breaks and then be intentional and focused when it's time to work. So I'm just going to work here and try to get these 10 scenes down, see how far I get, and then make sure there's still time to hang out with my husband while I'm packing up my bags. So that's my plan, and I'm ready to get started. Okay, let me just say this, because it is now like 8:45, which means I just went into a complete time warp for the last 15 minutes. So sometimes this is also how I know that I'm working just a little bit too hard, is that I will just not be able to be focused. I literally just sat down and told you guys how I was going to focus on these note cards, and then I got pulled into a YouTube video, which then pulled me into some shorts, which then pulled me into some thoughts about other things. And then I suddenly was like, why am I sitting here watching this person dance? Or like people talk about Ariana Grande, like, we're done here. I got to get my work done. But that for me is a surefire clue that I need a brain break, especially because I'm about to go away for a couple of nights to work extra hard. So I'm not going to push myself too much tonight. I'm going to try maybe for 30 minutes to an hour and just get as far as I can get. So then I can work on these note cards while I'm driving tomorrow, because I won't actually be like working on the note cards, but I can be thinking through what's going to go on the note cards, and I can use my voice app, like text to speech text, because when you start to see those signs that you're starting to get a little bit too tired or you're working too hard, if you don't back away from that and make some adjustments, that's when you start to get yourself into trouble. And this is probably one of the biggest changes that I have made in my life over the last year or so, when we won't go into the dark times that were this time last year, but I nearly broke myself trying to get the HB90 planner and everything else done, while I also had severe emotional reaction to everything that was going on. And I'm just never going to put myself through that again. So if I can't work joyfully and focused, then I need to stop and take care of myself. And if that means a video doesn't go up, or it means I don't win NaNoWriMo, that is totally okay, because I would much rather be healthy and happy. So this is your reminder to try to pay attention to what are the signs for you individually that you just need a little bit of a break. And I thought actually I was doing great. I'm excited, but that is a surefire sign to me when I get pulled into just random videos. I realize that my brain just kind of needs to let go for a little while. So I'm just going to set a 30-minute timer, and I'm going to get as far as I can get, and then I'm going to call it and go pack and just relax for the rest of the night. Okay, so I did a 30-minute sprint and then continued to work for maybe like 5 or 10 minutes after. And I did get my 10 note card scenes. I did not fill them out the way I normally would because that takes more time. So I will just think through each scene as I'm driving tomorrow and keep notes on my phone, like with speech to text, where I will open up a document and keep working on it there and then fill them out as needed right before I work on a new scene. So that's a way to kind of save a little bit of time. And then once I got those scenes figured out, I sat down and wrote one tiny piece of a scene and I got 580 words exactly. So I'm at 25,013 words, which is not what I wanted for the day. I am 6,600 words behind. So for me, that's not too far. And truthfully, even if I didn't write another word at this point, I think I'm above what I did last year throughout the entire piece of Nano. And I like these words and some of them are going to stay, whereas I threw out pretty much everything I wrote last year. So if I'm going to compare myself to myself, I'm doing better and I'm pretty proud of that. So it is now 9:30. So I'm going to go hang out with George. I'm going to pack my bags for tomorrow's trip and just get everything ready to go so that I can have a good morning tomorrow with the kiddos and get on the road. So as of this sign off, I will not see you guys again until at least Tuesday. That vlog probably will just be the entire trip. So several days in one vlog, and I probably won't go up until late Tuesday night after I'm home and have spent some time with the kids. So I will see you guys then, and I look forward to it. And come follow me on Instagram so you can see some stories as I go throughout the next couple of days. All right. Take care of yourself. Slow down if you need to. Don't let yourself feel guilty if you're running behind. Celebrate every single word. We're in this together. Let's cheerlead each other. Let's continue on. And every word is a win. So let's keep celebrating those wins. All right. All my love to you. And I will see you in a couple of days. Bye.